So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. And yeah, today I wanna do some overclocking with the MSI Z77 MPower and my i7 3770K, because I have not actually tested the CPU yet. Now you can, oh, my mouse doesn't work because it's plugged into the USB 3.0, but you can see in the upper right corner my DRAM frequency is 2600, which I did manage to get working. Actually, it's set to boot at 2620 right now, which I did not get working. I got it like here. This is the peak frequency I got the RAM to. Past this, it won't post, except it just did. Huh. Anyway. It's a bit weird with the RAM overclocking on this board. I want to do a lot more RAM overclocking before I say anything about it. Partly because I have never worked with this platform before. I don't know how it works yet. I have never really done DDR3 at all, which also means I don't have any kits with decent chips. Like this kit right now is Samsung 4GB eDie single rank, which supposedly can do up to 2933 if you have a good sample, but I don't know how good my sample is. And some people have been telling me that right around here is where you tend to start running into memory controller limits on Ivy Bridge. So when it comes to RAM, there's more to do. What I want to do right now is actually, we're gonna restore defaults. And I want to see what the CPU cores can do, because I have done exactly one test, and that's whether it does 4.5 GHz at 1.35 vCore with no other settings. Like, you have LLC settings right here, which is in a... That's an interesting LLC scale. I've never seen settings look like this, but you can adjust the LLC. You can even do it for the iGPU. Apparently you can disable OCP somewhat, and you can even set the switching frequency to ×2 what it normally is. I don't know what it normally is, but ×2 sounds a lot. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at the stock load line for now, and yeah, what I want to do in this video is just see what the cores can do. Now I know it does 4.5 at 1.35. It did that. So let's see 4.6. And I'm just gonna be running linpack for this. And yeah, it's gonna do its thing. It tends to hang on B4 for a long time. Yeah, like that one. Tends to hang on that postcode for a while. Also, I think I can put this back up again, because in the lower right corner you also see the postcode on these. I had it down so you could see the CPU I have. Okay, that's Windows loading. And why is my mouse not working? Oh, there we go. Yes. So, CPU Z and linpack, please come to me. Also, core temp. Now, I did delete this CPU. The delete job is maybe not the best ever, because Core 2 tends to run a bit hotter than the rest. But, it's still 15 degrees colder than before. So, I'm not gonna do anything about this. But yeah, we're at 4.6. Actually, the board does overclock it by 0.5% just by itself. So let's see if it runs. Also, I'm wondering if that power consumption is accurate, because that sounds way... Okay, that's more like it, but that's still kind of low. If this is accurate... the hardware info readouts... Also, this is behind the camera. The hardware info readouts for this motherboard are all over the place. Most of them are not even labeled. They're just voltage 1 through 6. or something like that. So I have no idea if, well, it's probably just super I/O things. So you actually don't really have super precise voltage readings on this CPU, which kind of sucks. So I'm just going off of like this until I like. Actually, I could like try hooking up the oscilloscope to this one. I just need to find like a way how to properly connect it. Okay, we it passed. It's only passed one of them, and it's not even the stress test version. But it, like, I mean, in my experience, if this doesn't if this doesn't work, you're pretty unstable. This working doesn't mean you have to be stable, but this working means like at least you're gonna pass like 3D Mark physics tests. So yeah, so 4.6 at 1.32. That's like I don't know how good this is. As far as I know, these tend to wall at 4.8. So let's just keep going and see if we go there. I'm just gonna keep pumping up the multiplier until we start needing more voltage than this, because like, I mean, it's a water-cooled delidded chip. I'm fine running 1.45 volts into this, so like that's what I've been running into my 8700K for like way past a year, and it's been fine. So as long as you keep these cool enough, they will not degrade on you. Okay, 4.7. I also now realize like the postcode is not really that visible on camera because it's like green yellowish, which the camera just doesn't really pick up on that well. Okay, we're in Windows at 4.7. It's taking a while. Hello? Why is it doing that? Like, this could be a sign of instability. What just happened? Okay, I'm gonna press the reset button. Also, I'm gonna get rid of the LAN cable in case that was Windows Update doing something. Because it didn't like it kept showing the CPU temperature on the postcode, so that tells me it didn't like crash and reboot or something like that. Oh. No, okay, so that is a crash. IRQ are not less or equal. That is very much a crash. Okay, good. So for 4.7 we need more. I mean, like as far as I know, pretty much every single Ivy chip was at 4.7. So like 4.8. So realistically, I'm just gonna go all the way to 1.4. Realistically, we're looking at 4.8 gigahertz at like some voltage here. Because like there are some that do like 5 gigahertz. Oh no, what is it doing now? I don't want automatic repair. It's fine, I'm just overclocking you. But yeah, like there are some IV chips that apparently do 5 gigahertz. I have my doubts as to whether mine is one. Like, when it comes to CPUs, am I lucky? Like, my 8700K is pretty good. My 5800X is decent. My 5800X 3D is awful, but they all kind of are. Like, the memory control on my X3D is bad. But that seems to be, like, the default, because, like, a lot of them apparently can't do 1900 FCOK, and neither does mine. My 6700, my i7 is it does 4.8 at way more voltage than this. So maybe this one is like better than my 6700 in like just raw clocks, because the IPC is quite a lot lower. Okay, so okay, we're not dying immediately. I still find it weird that it's only drawing like 85 watts. That sounds like way too low. Like, I mean, okay, the TDP is 77, but that's at like 1.1 volts. We're like here right now and overclocked quite a lot. Like 3.9 is the default limit. We're 800 megahertz overclocked right now. And it's only drawing like 10 watts extra. I don't think this is accurate. I do actually have my PMD connected. I'm just not reading it right now. What's the PMD saying? PMD says... PMD says something. Right, there we go. Yeah, PMD says 140 watts. Like, that is before VRM efficiency, and it includes things like the iGPU VRM and stuff, but like... that's almost double the power. So that reading there is not accurate. And we did pass. Nice. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go to 4.8. Like, realistically, you wanna see things crash. This is not a video where we're gonna get full stability. That would be way too long. It's already 11 minutes long. So... Okay, 4.8. If it does like 4.9, I guess it's a decent chip. I don't think this is gonna do 5. Cause like 5 gigahertz on these, as far as I know, like it is possible. Just like it's possible to get a 5.5 gigahertz 8700K, but like they are very rare. And I don't think my random eBay sample chip that literally spent its entire life on a Intel stock heatsink based on how discolored the underfill was is that good. Yeah, it isn't. It needs more than that for 4.8. So yeah, like we've hit the point where we're gonna start needing a lot more voltage. So I have a feeling this is gonna be just like all the others. We're just gonna 4.5 volts. I am willing to run this daily on this chip. I'm willing to do up to 1.5 for like short bursts, but that would degrade it over time. But I'm fine running this at 1.45. Yes, go to Windows 10. Yeah, I mean, if it does 4.8, then it's, as far as I know, literally just like any other 3770K. Because Ivory Bridge apparently kind of sucked. Like for overclocking. Which is why which is why the plan for this thing is for me to like get a bunch of 2500Ks. Because Sandy Bridge apparently, like, there's also a whole bunch of bad ones. Oh, did it just crash? It did. Damn, does this not do 4.8? Maybe this is the point where I need to, like, touch the LLC. Like, V-droop offset control. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean more does that mean more droop or less droop? Like, I'm just gonna give it 100 and see if, like, the voltage changes because of it. Oh, did I just... Did I just change spectrum? I don't know. I'm just gonna give it 100%, see if the voltage, like, dips. And if it does, then I'm gonna go to the other extreme. I know this is not how to set LLC properly, but for now, I don't care. And that looks like a crash. That could be because it's just not doing 4.8. That could also be because we just selected the droopiest setting. So I'm gonna try the other one and see what's gonna happen. I kind of hoped it would at least do 4.8, cause yeah, like it's delidded and water cooled. it should do 4.8. Like, this has to be a pretty bad chip if it doesn't do 4.8. Oh god, we're auto repair again. Oh boy. Yep. So it's not doing 4.8. It's just not. Windows, you can stop trying. I'm just gonna go to BIOS. Yeah, so this thing kind of sucks. Let me... Oh, that's too much. Like that. Let's just see if it does like 4.75. And I'm gonna set this back to auto since setting it didn't do anything. Yeah. So let's see if that works. Oh, what's it doing now? Okay, whatever it was doing, it's posting now, apparently. Yep. And my mouse doesn't work again. Now it works. So that's 4.75. Let's see. Does it pass Limpack or do we crash? I'm probably gonna let this run completely through. Oh my. Yeah. This is on liquid metal. Well, this is the core that's like probably has kind of bad contact because this is 89. That one's 73. Like that core number 2 is like not great. Yeah, this one doesn't seem to have the best coverage with the liquid metal. It's still fine. Like, Limpack is quite a lot heavier than most things you would see daily. I don't know if it's gonna be quite a lot heavier than most things the CPU is gonna run. Nah, it's... I don't know. I'm not sure, actually. No, because it has liquid metal, I'm not gonna extreme overclock it, so... Oh, we passed Limpack, and it did pass the residual check. Like, actually, well, it does it does show CPU instability too. Like on my 8700K, it does. Like my 8700K, I have it at 5.3 gigahertz for like benching, but and like I even like at some point, yeah, like I took my test bench with me to a different place to stay there for a while, and I did use that CPU. I played games on it at 5.3, and it didn't crash or anything, and I used it for like 2 weeks like that. So like, for gaming and for what I usually do, it is fully stable, but if you run Limpack on the 8700K, at 5.3, it will actually fail the residual checks every now and then. So, yeah. At 5.2, it's fine. But 5.3 is just like very slightly unstable if you put a really heavy alcohol load on it, which I just don't do, so it's fine. But yeah, so this passing, at least, well, we've passed 2 so far. The next one might be not. But yeah, it seems to be that there's like a pretty hard wall at 4.8 then, because if 50 megahertz is the difference between running Limpack and crashing before the login screen pops up, yeah, that's you know, it's Ivy Bridge. It falls at 4.8. That's why I wanna get some Sandy Bridge CPUs, because they are More interesting. Well, like basically I'm just hoping that I get like an insane 2500K that does also like 5.3 or 5.5 even. I know this is gonna take like an insane amount of binning, but they are very cheap. Like, and I might just get lucky. I think Bullseye got really lucky with his one. Like his does like 5.3 or something like that. So yeah. But one thing, well, I have been told that Ivy Bridge apparently has a cold bug at around phase change temperature. So if I phase change this with like proper RAM installed, I could actually be competitive like on the leaderboard. Whereas Sandy Bridge does full pot, I cannot be competitive with my phase change there. But well, maybe I'll put like paste on this one again instead of liquid metal and like run it. Or maybe I'll just get like a 3570K. Or find another 3770K and hope that that one's better and I don't need to remove liquid metal from this, because that might have been the last liquid metal I have. Like, yeah. This is the third CPU I use the one tube I have on. And as far as I know, you're only supposed to use it for one CPU. It is getting pretty toasty. I reached 90. Like, this CPU runs hotter, quite a lot hotter than my 8700K. Which is weird, because it's drawing way less power. And, like, the die size is not too different. Like, this is 22 nanometers, my 8700K is 14. Okay, so it passed all of them. So, well, I mean, I would run way more tests than this on it, but this is at least, like, somewhat stable. Like, this is probably stable enough that you could run games with it. Like, I would probably play games on it, but, like, I wouldn't use this overclock for, like, rendering something. Okay, let's... Oh, I pressed shutdown. Shit. No, turn back on. Turn back on. Come on. Please. Let's try 4.775? You know? I really want to know that, like, 4.8 is just so... Could it be like... I mean... We can test it. I haven't heard of something like this, but I have done basically no research on this platform, so maybe it's a thing? Maybe this thing does have a frequency hole? Maybe it will just do 4.9? It's worth a try. Like, you know how, like, some Ryzens for their FCOK have, like, an FCOK hole? Where, like, they are stable and then suddenly they become very unstable, like so much that they don't even post, and then you raise the FCOK some more and then they're stable again. Maybe this has something like that? Because, like, that's a very abrupt just frequency wall at 4.8 if 4.75 passes Linpack. Which by no means is the heaviest stress test. Like, if I ran Prime 95 on this, that will be heavier. But it will probably also overheat. No. Okay. So no frequency hold. This just actually has a wall like that hard at 4.8. They get very similar behavior to what I've been seeing when random overclocking this. People have been telling me it's probably the memory controller. Like, since the memory controller is the same silicon as the cores, you know, if this thing just has a super hard wall somewhere, then I guess it does make sense. So... that. We're gonna be within 25 megahertz of, like, doesn't even get into Windows anymore. And if this still passes Linpack, then this is probably the hardest frequency wall I've ever seen. Like, just actually. Because, like, when it comes to other CPUs, like my 6700, 8700K, what are the other locked things I threw into the OST formula, like G3900, G40 something, like all of those, you push the frequency a bit too far and they just crash in Linpack. I've never seen any of those where just like you go a little bit higher and it just doesn't even get into Windows anymore. Okay, I mean, like, we are on Windows. Okay, let's, yeah. Okay. 4775. Let's see. Does it... Looks like it is. At least it's not instantly crashing. What's the PMD saying for power concern? Probably the same. No, actually, it's doing like 155 watts now. 160 even. Oh. Where's the Explorer? I have a feeling we're not entirely stable. Where did the Explorer go? Like, that's weird. Like, everything else still works. Why did the Explorer just die? Expecting the residual on this one to be not a pass then. Because, like, the Explorer is dead. Like, can we... Oh, no, it was a pass. Ow, that was loud. Can I restart the Explorer? No, I want... That's... I don't want Limpack. I want... Windows R does not work. Okay, so the Explorer is just actually gone. Well, I mean, even if the residuals pass on this one, the Explorer is gone. That's not something it's supposed to do. And I don't think this is OS corruption because I've not really done that much with this OS. Like, all the RAM overclocking I've done, every time it hasn't worked, it just didn't post. I've never actually had this kit of RAM, like, actually error in a test. If it posted, it was always stable. At least to the extent that I tested. Yeah, I guess this is the part of the video where I just ramble about the thing a bit, because this is obviously not stable if the Explorer just dies, even if Limpack says otherwise. So anyway, I guess that it's 27 minutes. That's still within the target range for video length, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, so seems like my 3770K is, well, Ivy Bridge. I was kind of hoping it would do at least like 4.8 proper, but looks like what we're looking at is 4.7 plus a bit of BCLK, which is actually nice because like maybe I want to use some BCLK on RAM. So like, why is it only doing 1? I told you to do 5. Anyway. Yeah, also, why is it only having 4 threads? There's 8. Unpack's being weird. Yeah, so it does seem to be a bit of a trash sample, to be honest. Because, yeah. So realistically, this is a 4.7 gigahertz CPU, which as far as I know is 100 megahertz less than what you typically see on these, so not that great. But, well, I mean, it's just 100 megahertz. It's not really gonna matter that much, and it's not like I'm gonna be using this CPU for like running GPUs, and I'm just gonna get other CPUs for this. Anyway, that's just the one it came with. So yeah, silicon quality of this CPU seems to not be all that great, and I might have to redo the liquid metal application on it. Other than that, I mean, it is fun. At least, like, it is a, you know, I went for an MSI motherboard because I wanted the MSI BIOS. Like, did you see any problems that I had with the BIOS in this video? No, because it's MSI BIOS. I just like MSI BIOS. It just works. You just tell it to do something and it does it. It's just great. Like, if yeah, I really didn't want to go for another Asus board because the Apex just randomly decides that no, what you want is actually not valid, and I'm gonna do a totally different thing, and oh no, we're not posting, but now you're gonna have to deal with it, like, so this is still a fairly, you know, painless and I would say fun experience. Like, even the RAM overclocking part wasn't Like, admittedly, I haven't done much. I basically just pushed the frequency, but it was fun. Like, there weren't any giant problems with it. Like, with the OC formula, I had some pretty big problems just, like, getting the frequency to work properly. Like, it just has a hard time going over 3200, but sometimes it does 3600 easy, and sometimes it just really doesn't want to. My Z370 gigabyte board, that one has a lot of issues, because that one's stuck on the old gigabyte BIOS, the one that's, like, really bad. While the Apex itself, I have had many, many problems with that board, but I keep using it because there's no alternative. And then there's my B550 Unify X, which is an MSI board, and I haven't had problems with it. Other than that, it keeps deleting my profiles, but as far as I know, that's actually a feature. It's a bit of a stupid feature, but it is known and apparently meant to do that when you swap the RAM out. Yeah, so I've had a good time with this board so far. Sadly, I seem to have a pretty bad CPU, and I probably need to get some better RAM as well. Like, I don't know, what's good for DDR3 to get? Like, PSC has some chips that, like, Power Chip seems to have some ICs that are pretty good. There's, like, Elpida Hyper, or Elpida Base, or whatever it's called. Like, stuff like that. There's also Samsung 2 gigabit D-Die, or was it 1 gigabit D-Die? I'm not too sure. There's, like, some Samsung D-Die that's, like, absolutely insane. In just, like... It's just weird. I've actually had that chip on, like, a cheap-ass chip card. And it also did, like, insane clocks on that one. So, apparently that chip is, like, interesting. The stuff that I have currently seems to not be all that great. Like, at least this stuff does 2600, which is, like, a decently high frequency for this platform, at least. Because apparently, like, people have been telling me that's, like, around where the memory controller starts giving out. Which seems to be the case, because, like, if it was the RAM, then I would be seeing instability and not just no post. And even if it was the board, I think I would also just be seeing instability and not no post, because it's just going 55 postcode and just refusing to boot. Which I think is just the memory controller. Yeah, long story short, I've repeated myself 3 times right now. I need a better CPU for this, so yeah, I'm gonna be on the lookout for LGA 1155 CPUs. Maybe I'll find something interesting, and I am definitely also going to look for some better DDR3 that's, like, good for pushing frequency, or some stuff that's just, like, does good timings and actually performs well. And yeah, gonna be messing around with this a bit more. Maybe some of it turns into a video. Like, I did mostly buy this board for the purposes of, like, taking a bunch of 2500Ks, pushing them with the phase change, and then having no remorse when I blow them up because they cost like 10 euros. So I'll be doing that at some point. I just need to buy those 2500Ks first. And I think I'm actually out of stuff to talk about now. So that was 33 minutes. If you're still here, I am very sorry. Until next time, goodbye.